breeze it took to shake the leaves to make my mother's hair move. My father dared touch it and say, please, may I have a kiss? Yes, the breeze made me exist. And if you want to get even deeper into this right now, you will look at me and see a big old cloud. That's right, the cloud it took to form the storm, to make the breeze, to shake the leaves, to inspire the lip lock. Yes, a raindrop will pop up out these words. You heard me right. If you look at me close enough, you will see a dark, stormy night. And what is night? Well, night ain't night without a polar opposite of sunlight. So if you watch the way my hands sway, you'll see the light of day. And every day is a testament to the sediment of the earth's cores, ever spinning enormous force. So when you look at me just right, you'll see a spark of the source. But the most fascinating thing about this, and it's true, is that if you look at me just right, you see you. Only what you perceive, how you believe, the space between you and me that creates reality.
Have you ever felt like there's a unique spark within you just waiting to shine? You're not alone. At the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont, we believe that everyone has the potential to transform their lives with practical spirituality. Picture this: a supportive community where everyone is striving for a deeper spiritual connection. Imagine workshops that inspire, classes that enlighten, and a welcoming community that affirms who you truly are. We like to think of ourselves as your spiritual gym. Just like physical wellness requires practice and dedication, so does spiritual wellness. Our empowering principles are designed for daily use, helping you make meaningful changes in your life. It's all about changing your mind to change your life. Sounds simple, right? Whether you're looking to unlock your potential, find clarity, or simply connect with like-minded individuals, the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont is the place to be. We're open and affirming to all because we believe that everyone deserves a chance to shine. So, are you ready to step into a more empowered version of yourself? Join us at the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont.
All right, friends, it is that time to find your seats. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. Hello, friends. It's good to be in spiritual community. You get to talk and say hi to all of your friends. Once again, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. My name is Reverend Neil. If you are here online, welcome and thank you for joining us. Make sure you type in, show us where you're watching from and that you're here so that we can say good morning to you. If you're a first-time guest here in person, there are some blue packets in the back underneath the clock. Feel free to grab one and you can read all about us and who we are and what we believe and what we stand for. After the service, we have a fellowship and meal in Carter Hall. Please consider staying after service for some spiritual community and some connection, and then you can talk some more. Please take a moment to make sure that your cell phone is silent. So we are creating that sacred atmosphere. Let's begin by reaffirming once again who we are choosing to be as a spiritual community by reading our vision statement that is up on the board with all of the joy and enthusiasm in your heart on this wonderful winter day. CSLB is an inclusive and transformative community of spiritual practice. We are going to open up with some music, and as I like to do, invite you to once again find somebody that you have not yet talked to this morning and say good morning while the song is playing.
Sung by someone that we all love.
My dear friend,
Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight. Gladys.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall trees bend into leaning. Suddenly the snowflakes that fall have a meaning. Sprinkling the sea makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance that I can go back there. Now that I've found some direction, it would sure be nice to back home again with love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time, be my friend. Let me start again. Suddenly my world has gone and changed its space, but I still know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, yet I've watched it growing, yeah. If you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we try to stay or should we run away? Is it better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it taught me to love. So it's real to me, and I love that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love, like yours, like
Jean Houston wrote a book called The Wizard of Us. And she reminds us in that book that the power never was in Oz, it was never in the wizard, and it was never in the ruby slippers. The power is always within us. And so as we segue from that into our announcements, remember that there's a power and an energy and a flow and a creativity at this center that is starting to coordinate and syncopate and synchronize in a way that I haven't up until now felt it. And it's feeling good and very good. And I'd like to acknowledge our trio of tech crew because our tech is expanding. So we have a trio of people running tech today as we expand and grow and up-level our tech service. So I'd like to honor Chepe, who is new here today, his first day here. He's going to be here 1 day a month, and I'm praying for 2 days a month and maybe more, but we'll take what we can get. And we have Adrian, who will be stepping out of tech December 31 and stepping more fully into the practitioner core, where we're building our practitioner course, so he's stepping in. He did meditation today. And then we have Chuck, who will be our lead technician, working along with Chepe. So we've got an energy, we've got an expansion, we've got a trio of tech today, and we have announcements. So our Good Grief group meets every Thursday in this sanctuary from 1 to 2:30. Grief is anything: loss of your faith, loss of spiritual connection, loss of your career, loss of your income, loss of family, loss of the love of the holidays. That's grief to me. I mean, I'm really in the holidays this year, but it's about all of that. We talk about grief is anything that might feel like a loss. We call it good grief because I think Durwood will attest we usually find our way to good by the end of the day. So it's finding our way to the good that's within the grief. Every first and third Sunday we do Science of Mind in Carter Hall, 9 to 9:30. That's the first and third Sunday, and it's How to Speak Science of Mind, very basic. And then we are hosting a Thanksgiving dinner in Carter Hall on Thanksgiving Day. We have a flyer on the back. Center's providing all the food. You're more than welcome to contribute a side dish if you want, but we've got turkey. I think we're going to have ham, 2 to 4, full Thanksgiving dinner. So come share Thanksgiving with us. This is your spiritual family, so make it your Thanksgiving family. We're delighted to be doing that this year. We already have about 30 signups, so it's going to be a good group and a lot of joy and a lot of telling of stories. So join us for that. Food for Fellowship. We are expanding our Food for Fellowship program. It's going really well. There's a great spread out there today. The dishes that people have contributed, and if you choose to contribute, we have a sign-up sheet. For that, the board will pay you back for a main entree according to your receipts up to $50. So if you'd like to bring a main entree and purchase it, the board, if you want, will honor up to $50 for the cost of the main entree if you sign up for that Sunday. We have Ring in the Holidays, and that's Judy Garthwitz has put this together. It's a handbell concert. It's on Saturday, December 21st at 6 p.m. We'll be doing the holiday music, and hopefully we can do a little sing-along in there. So we have flyers on the back again. And on December 24th, Christmas Eve, we're doing a candlelight Christmas Eve service here. And it's from 3:30 to 5, 3:30 to 4. Mingle and mix and have a little celebration. Sparkling cider, sparkling champagne, some eggnog. Mingle and mix, 3:30 to 4. And then Reverend Neil and I are going to put together a holiday candlelight service, and we're going to be putting a service together for the first time together to see how we work together. So we know it's going to go beautifully. So that's happening. December 28th, Betty Ann has put together Kwanzaa for us, featuring Yvonne Evans, and it will be fabulous. So it was a big hit in the prior years. We know it's going to be great. And today, after service, join us in Carter Hall for a full fellowship lunch, food for fellowship, and great conversation. And what else have we got going? We have
real quick before we get to that, don't forget that next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday.
Thank you. Oh, I skipped it. Next Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. So December 3rd. Tuesday, December 3rd, is Giving Tuesday. And it's an opportunity to practice your prosperity consciousness and your principle of tithing by giving to CSLB on Facebook, on Breeze, or text to give, or bring a check or a donation into the office. So it's Giving Tuesday, and we have someone in this community who is anonymous to me and anonymous to the board. But we have someone in this community who has donated a $1,000 matching fund to Giving Tuesday. So he will match any amount you give. If you give 20, this person will match 20. If you give 50, this person will match 50. If you give 5, this person will match your 5 and double your gift up to $1,000. And Ross and I have talked about this. Actually, we haven't, but Ross and I will add to that $1,000, and we will add $250 to the matching fund. So if you contribute up to $1,250, the anonymous donor, Ross and I, will add $250, so we have a $1,250 match. Let's get $1,250 so we honor the entirety of that match. So And next we have Yvonne. Betty Ann's coming up next to talk about gratitude. Gratitude for, attitude of gratitude. Attitude for gratitude.
This has been my pleasure, and I won't tell you good morning. I will tell you good morning. But do you know what good morning means? Anybody? Really? Okay. Good morning. G, it means to get up. The O means to open your heart. The other O means to open your mind. The D means to dedicate your day to God. That's good. Morning. The M means to meditate. The O, optimize your resources. The R means to remove all negative thoughts. The N means to never underestimate your potential. The I, inspire someone. The N, never lose faith. G, go out with joy and confidence. Good morning. Now, today is my last day of pulling my attitude for gratitude. We of the membership team have been very proud to give these away this year. And someone can pull from the audience. Oh, because yours is in here. Reverend Michael couldn't pull, his is in here. Okay, this is from, oh my goodness, this is from one of the online contributors,
Oh, great.
Lily Brown. She says, my home, the comfort I have been given to walk through the front door. That's really neat. The loving relationship with her daughter, her health, thank God for my health, and modern medicine. Okay, I can't comment. Okay. Her friendship that she has and her CSLB spiritual family. All right, so this is my last, I'll get this to her either in person and or through snail mail. Thank you for participating, and we will maybe do this again next year.
Hey. Thank you, Betty Ann.
Good morning.
Good morning and welcome back.
I'm Yvonne Fowler, and I'm one of the practitioners here, but I'm also chairperson for the Pledge Campaign. And we started that at the end of last month and goes through November, and it ends at the end of November now. But I want to thank you for all your contributions up to this point. We did really good last year, and we know that things are changing a little bit for next year with all the increases and things. So we really need to work on the Pledge Campaign for next year. And every pledge matters, and what we're hoping is that you'll be able to add maybe 1 or 2% more this year so that we can make our budget. But we launched the campaign again, like I said, in November, and what our goal is 45 or more pledges. It'd be nice to have 50, okay? But we're down here now for the pledges that came in at 15. Marcia tells me we have 3 more, so that's 18. We're not even halfway, and we need to be a little bit more aggressive in the next 2 weeks. So I've asked Jack if he would stand up, and if anybody needs their form to fill out, and you could just drop it in our collection box. So is there anybody that needs a form now that would like to have it done? And if not, could you make sure that you think about getting it in by next week? See, our budget process starts in December, and our budget is based on the monies that we receive from the pledges. So we've got to think about what we can give. And one of the things that happened to me over the years, I didn't pledge at first. I gave what I thought I could, but I went to so many prosperity classes and was with a church that was really expanding. And so I decided to go with, there is enough. I have enoughness. And to get rid of that feeling that, you don't have enough to do this, don't have enough to do that. And it worked. I changed my consciousness, and now I expect. I expect the best. I expect to win. I expect to get what I want. And it's happened. And I know it's because of my shift in attitude. And I want to encourage you to think about the abundance that we have is ours. I mean, it's there. The universe is abundant. Just think about the air we breathe. It's always there. God has provided for us, but we have to know that ourselves. And so there is enough, and we aren't limited. So just think about that as you think about supporting your spiritual home. And the more I think about it, the more I give, the more I receive. Have you noticed that? I mean, it's just so true. If you have that way of thinking, it does happen. So I also give with a sense of joy and gratitude. It's not a chore. It's a gift that I'm giving back to the universe for giving me the gift of life and all these gifts that I have. So when I think about it like that, it's a lot easier too. And I wrote down here, one of the things that I found was making the contribution or making my commitment weekly, rather than at the end of the month, the end of the year. Because when the end of the year comes, it's all those property taxes and everything else. And if you get behind a little bit in your commitment, it's kind of hard to catch up, and you don't think about the joy of giving. So I'd encourage you to, like I do, give it off the top. That's the first thing that I paid during my month, is my commitment to the church, because I know that that's where my good is, and that's where my gratitude and my all comes from. God is my source, and I love it. So I also see my gift as a tithe. That's what I I just said a few minutes ago. And I didn't think about that before, but it's just a portion of giving back to the universe for all the love and all the good that I have. So if you'll help me, a couple of weeks ago, Dorothy talked about our, what is that? Pie chart. And it shows where our money goes. We're very transparent here, and we are good stewards for your money. So if you have any questions about where your money goes, we can show you and share with you that information. So please fill out your pledge cards. There's some in the back of the room, and if you need one, like I said, there's some up here in the front. Thank you.
We did have one other announcement that came in late. The flowers at the front of the room, go ahead and zoom out so people online can see them, are in memory of June Foster's dad. So.
And his name is Fred Watkins. So Joan Frost donated these flowers today in honor of her father, who's made his transition, Fred Watkins. So we want to thank Joan for that, and for everyone who's been part of our flower ministry.
Well, once again, I'm Reverend Neil. I'm one of your licensed spiritual practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. The other practitioners and I, as usual, will be on this side of the sanctuary after service for a moment of prayer. Please do not leave here with anything on your hearts. We would love to pray with you, and we absolutely know that prayer works. So let's put aside all of the busyness of the day and take this moment to close our eyes and let this meditative song bring us to our center.
When I turn to you, with a heart that understands before I speak, and I learn from you all that really matters. Though a million years go by, you'll still love me. I no longer look for a place to hide, 'cause I know where I belong when I turn to you. When I turn to you. When I turn to you, dear Lord, I know that I love you. When I turn to you, you were watching over me, and through the eyes that look beyond the faults I see, and I learn from you. You are always merciful, though I remember all that you've forgiven me. I know where I belong when I turn to you. When I turn to you. When I turn to you, I know that I love you.
And so in this stillness, we simply take this opportunity to take a mindful breath and remember in this sacred space, in this sacred time, that there is only one power, one presence, one principle. It is that power, that principle, which we call God or spirit or love or perfect intelligence or divine order. Whatever name that you give it this morning, know that it is right where you are. It is right where we are as a spiritual community. And so I know that as we gather together in the spirit of oneness, in the spirit of love, I know that God is here, God is present, God is moving and having its being as each one of us. And knowing that is true, I can know that there is a gift in this morning for each one of us, whether it be in the music, in the spiritual community, in the conversation, in the insights. Whatever it is that is for you this morning, I know that is there, and I invite you to claim it, knowing that there is good in this morning and good in each one of our lives. And so in great gratitude, I simply call this morning good and complete and allow it to unfold with all the ease and all the God-given direction that it has within it. And so it is. And my reading this morning comes from The Art of Abundance, which is a book that we actually were doing a book study of this time last year. So I thought it would be cool to go back and kind of remind you what we talked about. And he says, be mindful that your success in the world can be found in the cracks and crevices of your daily life. You don't have to be a billionaire, a brain surgeon, or a scientist who discovers the cure for a major disease to be a change agent for good. Ralph Waldo Emerson shared in the following quote a beautiful vision of what being successful in life looked like to him. Notice that there is no mention of money, fame, or material gain, only the satisfaction found in making the world a better place by means of the seemingly smallest acts and deeds. Ralph Waldo Emerson says, success, to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has been breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have success. And so it is.
And so I love everything that's unfolding in service today. And there's one announcement that I want to get in here, and this is Barbara Jean Yankee's celebration of life, Al Yankee, who many of us have known here for a long time. I've known him for the year I've been here. And his wife made her transition on October 3rd. And Wednesday, December 11th, at the Riverside Center for Spiritual Living at 6 p.m., they will have a celebration of life gathering. And Al asked me to mention that. We'll mention again next week for that celebration of life. And it's what we do at this center. We celebrate life. And I feel an energy of celebration going on here, an energy of transition, an energy of transformation beginning here today. I feel it aligning and synchronizing, and I'm just feeling a whole sense of alignment, and I'm particularly feeling it in our ecclesiastical staff. That's our practitioners and our ministers. That's our ecclesiastical realm. And I said to Neil today, I know on his days off, he might want to stay home. I know on my day off a month, I want to be hiking or at the beach or at the swimming pool or at a hot pool. I don't want to be here on my day off. I love you, but on my day off, I want to be somewhere else. And I said to Reverend Neil, I want to make sure you're getting enough time off. I don't want you to be here on your days off if you don't want to be here. But he stepped into Practitioner today, and I'm loving it. I'm loving his energy. I'm loving his presence. I'm loving that Adrian's stepping in to our Practitioner Corps. That's the next team that we want to up-level and uplift and upraise at the center. We want to work on our consciousness and come together as a team to better serve this community in the ecclesiastical realm. And so I think part of what the ecclesiastical arm of this center does, what our intention is, what our intentionality is to put into action, is to ask the question, do you see what I see? Because as a practitioner and as a minister, and ministers are practitioners first, ours is to see the beauty and the light and the truth of who you are. When at times, because of conditions of the life, conditions of your finances, physical well-being, you may not see and feel and be into that absolute truth of perfection and wholeness that you are. And a practitioner first comes to that consciousness within themselves that they're perfect, whole, and complete in all areas of their life. And as we bring ourselves into that consciousness, then we, through our energy, allow you to bring yourself into that consciousness in the presence of our energy. So I'm feeling an ecclesiastical growth here today, an ecclesiastical presence here today, and a present to the center of our ministerial and practitioner ecclesiastical team, stepping up and stepping out and stepping into a higher consciousness of, do you see what I see? And that's our opening story. Do you see what I see? Do you see the love I see in you? Do you see something differently than I see it? Do you see what I see? And our opening story is, do you see what I see? It's about an Airbus 380 that's on its way across the Atlantic at 30,000 feet, and it's flying at 600 miles an hour, when it suddenly is confronted by a fighter jet, a fighter plane that's traveling at Mach 2. That's 2 times the speed of sound. 2 times the speed of sound. The pilot of the fighter jet slows down. I think that's what practitioners help us do, slow down. Slow down and be present to who we are right here and now. And so the jet slows down, flies alongside the Airbus passenger jet, and greets the pilot of the passenger jet plane by radioing over. Airbus, looks to me like you're having a boring flight at 600 miles an hour. A lot more fun in my plane at twice the speed of sound. And the fighter pilot then says, I'm going to show you something. Look here what I can do. And the fighter pilot rolls his plane at 2 times Mach speed. He accelerates beyond speed, breaks the sound barrier, rises rapidly to a dizzying height, and then plummets, absolutely plummets into a deep swoop and a deep dive. And he comes down to with inches of almost kissing the waves of the ocean's surface. They almost lap up and touch the underbelly of that fighter jet. It's a breathtaking dive. And then the fighter pilot loops back around, soars back into the height of the sky, comes alongside the passenger jet, and says to the pilot of the passenger jet, well, what did you think of that? And the Airbus pilot answers, very impressive. But now you watch this. The jet pilot watches the Airbus passenger pilot, but nothing happens. It continues to flying straight at the same speed, and after 15 minutes, the Airbus pilot radios the fighter jet pilot and said, well, how was that? And the confused fighter pilot says, what did you do? I didn't see anything. And the Airbus pilot laughs and says, I got up, I stretched my legs, I walked to the back of the aircraft, I used the washroom, then I got a fresh hot cup of coffee and a chocolate fudge pastry on the way back. The moral of the story is, when you're young, speed and adrenaline seem to be great. But as you get older and wiser, you learn that comfort and peace are more important. This is called, I knew that would resonate with this community, right? It was resonating with me. I thought, yeah, this is going to resonate. This is called SOS, slower, older, and smarter. So I dedicate this to all my senior friends and those who are on their way to becoming senior. It's time to slow down and enjoy the rest of your ride through life. The ride through life that we're talking about today, there we go, the ride through life that I invite us to slow down and take in today is the ride of a trip to Bountiful. It's about the journey of the blessings of love that one comes to see in the world as one home comes to the knowing we are the blessing we see, because we are the blessing we be, and in being it and in becoming it, we come to see it in the world. The love we see in the world is the love we come to be within ourselves. So what we see is what we be. Now, I don't know how many students of Science Mind here we have. I don't know how many practitioners we have, but who said what we see is what we be? She was known as the teacher of teachers. She taught Ernest Holmes. She taught many of the great Science of Mind people, and she said, what we see is what we be. It's one of our greatest teachers. That's Emma Curtis Hopkins. Emma Curtis Hopkins shares what we see, we be, and what we are in the moment seeing, what we are in the moment seeing is what we are in the moment being. If you're having an argument with somebody, you're being in that energy of argument. And yet, in Science of Mind, as we come to see, as a practitioner holds us in that higher consciousness, that perfect vision, in the presence of your anger, we come to hold the presence of that amplitude of peace, that quietude of peace. And we come to the realization and we come to the activation that beyond our agitation, beyond your agitation in the world, that agitation in a practitioner's consciousness can be the activation of an elevation of the higher consciousness of love. That's practitioner work. Being in the presence of your agitation and hiding that agitation and realizing that it's an activation of your higher call to the emanation of love. agitation, activation, elevation, emanation. What we see is what we be. And so through the bounty of the blessings of our love, we come to create, through the bounties of our love, life events and life experiences through the bounty of the blessings of the love in our heart. And while we can't always go home for the holidays, we're always at home in the world wherever we go when we live from the holiday blessing of the love in our heart. Now, Howard Thurman said this of the bounty of our blessings. He invites us not to live a traditional and missionary life, but a truthful and visionary life of the high resolve of love. A visionary life of the high resolve of love. And he calls that the bounty of our blessing. He invites us to bring about a new way of seeing, right, and of being, and of becoming. And Howard Thurman says this. He was a mystical visionary. And he says this: don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do that. Because what the world needs is people who are fully alive. And you know when you're fully living alive, because it tends to irritate and aggravate and activate people who are living fully deprived. Are you living fully alive, or are you living somewhat deprived? It's our choice. But if you're feeling deprivation, know that it's the emancipation onto a fuller life. If you're feeling a little deprived, if you're feeling a little held back, if you're feeling a little short, they got the short straw, the short stick, or the short shift at work, and you had to do the midnight shift, and you're feeling, I'm a little deprived. That wasn't mine to do. But know in feeling that deprivation, it becomes our elevation and our emancipation of realizing that we are elevating in consciousness according to the way we relate to our feeling of deprivation that allows it to transform into an elevation of awareness that we are truly the bounty of the blessing of the love that we hold in our heart through the choices we make in our mind to set the beat of our heart and the rhythm of our heart and the consciousness of our heart and the expansion of our heart to be blessings in the bounty of this world. Do we have Mr. Cellophane up, and is it runnable now, that music clip? If the link is up, let's do it, and I'll work it into the talk. Not critical. So let's go into a prayer for a moment. Let's go into a prayer of knowing that the bounty of this blessing of the love in our heart, to allow it to flow over into the openness of this holiday season. And in the openness of this holiday season, we come to see beyond the cellophane tape, right? The cellophane that we use to tape up packages. And the idea of cellophane is that it's clear and transparent. We're good? Let's run that. And so I want you to think about cellophane and the holidays and how it's transparent, but it still wraps something up. It still holds something in place. It still holds that package and wrapping in place. So even this, so it's transparent, it still holds something in place. And I want you to think about this as you see this video about cellophane. And how the things that hold us in place in our soul might be transparent to us, but they still hold us back from who we are. No sound? Okay, that's good. So it was a clip from Chicago, the movie Chicago, Mr. Cellophane, and he talks about being invisible and not being seen by people. And we talked about a gentleman in another center that said they felt invisible. And it talks about cellophane in a way that it's transparent, that we can't even see it. and that there may be a layer of cellophane over our soul. There may be a layer of cellophane that's binding our heart. There may be a layer of cellophane over our mind that's not letting our mind see clearly. Now, we don't even see our bindings and our boundaries because they're clear like cellophane. And so we don't even know we're there. And so part of science of mind is removing that cellophane and removing that tape. And as we remove that cellophane from our soul and that cellophane from our heart and that cellophane from our mind, these invisible boundaries, we open up to an infinite bounty of blessing, of receiving and seeing and being that presence of love that we've never seen before. But part of cellophane is we don't even see it's in place. And part of this teaching is helping us see that there's cellophane that's keeping us from the absolute window pane of our soul, that we get to choose to open and let the fullness of that love flow into our life. So Ernest Holmes shares this about cellophane. And can we move to the next slide? Okay. He says this about cellophane. But he says this about the cellophane of our life. If you want to see if there's cellophane in your life, holding you back from the absolute presence and clarity of that love in your soul, he says, look into a mirror. He says, life is a mirror that reflects back to the thinker what he thinks into it. And so anything we see in the mirror is a reflection of who we are, but there might be a layer of cellophane over that mirror. There might be a layer of cellophane that we want to remove so we get a true and honest and clear reflection into that consciousness of the bounty of the blessing that we are and always have been. He shares that we come alive as we come to realize that life is like a mirror that reflects back to us what we see and think and be into it. He says by changing your thinking, you can change your life. And as you come to change your life, you come to be the change agent. From Reverend Neil, you come to be the change agent in the world you desire to see in the world. You come to see a world that works for everyone with no one left behind. My vision of ministry is a world beyond borders. It's a world of hearts beyond boundaries, and it's a world of lives beyond limits. And by living from the homecoming of the love in your hearts, we become the loving change agent and the loving change and the loving consciousness of compassion and kindness and caring that transforms the world. Be the love the world needs now. Stop loving away what you wanted to change yesterday. You can't step in the same river twice. Yesterday's flow has already gone by. You can step in the river of today by being and seeing and becoming in this present moment and stepping into the now of that river, the now of the love that we choose to be. And as we be that and see that and feel that and step into it and splash in the now of this moment, it changes the future of our tomorrow. But the power of changing our future is not in changing the past or creating the future. It's being present right now in the love we choose to see and be and become. Mr. Rogers says, be the love the world needs now. In 1969, during a time of significant racial segregation and discrimination in the United States, Mr. Rogers said this. He was the beloved host of the television show Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he made a powerful statement by inviting Officer Francois Clemens, an African-American character on the show, to join him in cooling his feet in a pool. In essence, Mr. Rogers' decision to invite Officer Clemens to join him in cooling his feet in the same pool in 1969 was a courageous and pioneering act that challenged racial segregation norms and demonstrated his dedication to fostering a more inclusive and compassionate society through the medium of television. His medium of change was television. My medium of change is consciousness, as is yours. As is yours. Ernest Holmes invites us through our medium of consciousness, through our cacophony of our teachings and our principles and our practices and our prayers and our presencing the love in this moment as we step into the flow of the river of this moment, that he says we foster an open-heartedness of unconditional love. And Ernest Holmes asks us to inquire, is there perhaps some cellophane there? Some cellophane wrapping up the unconditionality of our love and bringing in the reality that in some ways we are closed-minded and starving. So we have the choice to transform the agitations of our lives into the activations of universal spiritual truths, which then lead us to living an elevated life, a life unwrapped in cellophane, unwrapped in string, unwrapped in the debris of our darkness of consciousness, and brings us to the loving light of a love unconditional, unbounded, unbinding, breathtaking, a love that's breathtaking. And I like to see the world breathtaking as breath take in. Breathe in the unconditionality of the love that you are, and then fully breathe out that breath of life and love and light that you are into the world, and let the world expand their breath to take in the fullness of your breath. It's all one breath. T.S. Eliot shares this of transforming our agitations into our activations, into acts of loving kindness that elevate the love in our life. T.S. Eliot shares this of the possibility of changing our thinking and changing our life. And he calls it God's divine dare. I love it. God's divine dare. T.S. Eliot. And he invites us to dare to let go of what was in order for us to be more fully what we were meant to be. We have to let go of the person we are in order to grow into the person we are to see and to be and to become. And T.S. Eliot shares this of our divine dare. Let us go then, you and I. Let us go together. When the evening is spread out against the sky, oh, do not ask, what is it above in the sky? Let us go and make our visit to that place in the sky, to that place of the I am of the sky, and I as one. Good stuff, yeah? Let us go and make our visit. And seeing that it was a soft November night, and feeling indeed that there will be time to prepare our faces to meet the faces of the others in this world. Time for you, and time for me, and time for yet 100 indecisions. Let's call that cellophane our indecisions, but we don't even know it's there because it's clear. So let's call our indecisions the cellophane that keeps us bound up because we don't even know it's there. And for 100 visions and revisions, there's time for you and me to make 100 visions and revisions before the taking of our toast and tea the next morning. Indeed, there will be time to wonder. Indeed, there will be time to wonder. Do I dare? Do I dare? Do I dare to live life full out? Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird, 64th anniversary of her book, and she says that she wrote the book to remind us all that character matters, that true courage is seeing, being, and becoming who and whose you are and what you were born to be, despite any societal prejudice, despite any societal norms, despite any judicial judgments. Character matters, and true courage is seeing, being, and becoming who you were born to be. It's the 64th anniversary. It's a novel that contains truths so universal they repair beating in 2024. She says, you never really understand a person. You never really understand a person. You never, ever, ever really understand a person until you see things from their point of view. Until you climb inside of their skin and walk around in it for a little while. She said, I wanted my readers to see what real courage is. She says, it's time when you know you're licked before you even begin. But you begin anyway. And you see it through no matter what. Because sometimes, just sometimes, that which you see through, you come to win a victory in your life. She says, people generally see what we look for. You don't see the person, I don't see you, and you don't see me. You see me as your expectation of me, and I see you as my expectation of the way you're supposed to show up. And you know what? Because of my expectation and your expectation, because of our high expectations of what we're supposed to be, most of us are not showing up as who we truly are. We don't even show up as the love that we are, the creativity that we are, the consciousness that we are. The gift to this center that we are, the gift to this world that we are, the gift to our family, whatever that is, traditional or non-traditional family, you are a gift. You are a gift of that holiday love and that holiday spirit of the light of love in your heart. She says, the one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. Your conscience is your conscience. It does not have to be weighed down or bounded down or tied down or restricted by anyone else's beliefs. Your conscience is your conscience. And the gift of knowing the love in your heart is that it sets your consciousness free to fly in all directions at once. And as your consciousness begins to fly, you begin to take flight on the wings of our principles, our practices, and our prayers. Really what To Kill a Mockingbird is about is in a time of very unloving conditions to an element of people in this world was to be the conscience of that one man, of that one person, of that one child who bees the love the world needs now. My 10-year-old daughter, and this is a picture of the daughter and the person, my 10-year-old daughter witnessed an elderly lady at a pizza place the other day. And the elderly lady asked a teen boy if she could buy the stuffed animal that he just won out of a machine. And he said, no, it's for my best girl. My daughter saw how disappointed the woman was, and she asked me, her mom, for $1 to see if she could win this lady something. And so she did, and she won a little stuffed leopard, and she gave it to the lady, and the lady almost cried. And that lady that we didn't know because we hadn't walked in her skin, we hadn't gotten to see her soul, that didn't get to be present unless we're present in our soft, open vulnerability and our open-heartedness of love. And the daughter was, and the woman shared. We meet people where we are. We're open-hearted and kind. People are going to meet us open-hearted and kind. They're going to tell us our story. And she said she wanted the little stuffed animal to cheer up her sister. She said she tried to give my daughter $1 as a reward, and the daughter said, no, thank you. I just would like a picture of you because you're so beautiful. And her sister was in the hospital, and she wanted to take this little doll to her sister who was in the hospital. Now, before we left that night, the pizza parlor, my kids asked if we could go get a to-go pizza to give one of, to give one of the homeless people that are always around that area. We found a couple not too far away, and we talked with them for about 10 minutes, and we learned about them, and we learned about their story, and you know what? Their story wasn't very different from our story. And their story today may be our story tomorrow, and our story today may be their story. But you know what? When we come to share stories, and we come to share stories from the love and the heart, we become the change agent for the world the way we want it to be. And we gave out the pizza. We gave people $20. But what my daughter and my son and I came to realize, that what we received in turn was more valuable than gold, because we learned that not only were we a blessing in the world, but that we got to bless them in their need and to be the seed of love. When we bless another, we're blessing ourselves. When we feed another, we're feeding ourselves. When we love another, we're loving ourselves. That's part of the journey of a trip to Bountiful. That's part of the journey of a trip to Bountiful. Bill Gates loves Dick's Burgers in Seattle, Washington. He waits in line to place his order just like you and me. He doesn't cut in line. He doesn't somebody offer $100 to buy their place in line. Just like you and me, he waits in line. You know, when you're worth $95 billion, you can dress any way you want. And he dresses casually in a T-shirt and jeans on a Saturday night when he goes out to buy a burger. He says, you don't have to swag to prove you're ridiculously rich. He runs the largest charity in the world and still stands in line like the rest of us for a burger and a fry and a Coke. That's what I call a real winner. That's what I call somebody who knows the love in his heart. And while he gives out tens of billions of dollars a year, it's the love in his heart and the consciousness of knowing who he is that makes this gift of giving come back to him multi-fold. And so Bill Gates says in his consciousness, that he has always known he's had enough to share and to spare. And he said that has made all the difference in his life. What does Howard Thurman say? Do what brings you alive. Do what brings you alive. Trip to Bountiful, it's all about the journey of life we're on. There was a John Candy film, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. How many people have seen it? Trains, planes, and automobiles. Beyond the vehicles of transportation, the vehicle of consciousness of that movie was the vehicle of consciousness of how big is our heart, how open is our heart to strangers we meet along the way. It's the story and the theme of the Good Samaritan. Where do we stop by to share our love, our good tidings with others? It's a wonderful movie. If you haven't seen it, call it up on Netflix. John Candy will jump through hoops to be of service to Steve Martin, who's trying to get home for the holidays. And Steve Martin comes to realize as he arrives home that really the love in John Candy's heart makes John Candy love wherever he is in the world. And that can be despite the home of our physical presence. And if we can advance the next slide. Oscar Wilde says this. Let's skip that. Let's go on to the next. There we go. So our opening quote is, not our opening quote, but our quote at this point. You can tell I rearranged the slides. He says, to live is the rarest thing in the world. To live, to be fully alive, is the rarest thing in the world. And he says most people exist. And that's all they ever do. Because most people would rather stay in bed, he says, and pull the covers over their heads and refuse God's divine dare to let the light of a new day in. We dare to let the light of a new day in. Those covers are so darn comfortable. He also says, Oscar Wilde says, to invite in that divine dare, we have to exercise our bodies and we have to live a respectable life. And he said, most of us rather pull the covers over our head and stay in bed all day than do what we need to do to honor the divine dare to become who we truly are and always have been. Maya Angelou says this on her trip to Bountiful. This is what she learned. Family isn't always blood. It's the people in your life who want you in theirs. Family isn't always blood. It's the people who want you in their life. They're the ones who accept you for who you are. The ones who would do anything to see you smile. And who love you no matter what. Maya Angelou's trip to Bountiful, that's our talk today, the trip to Bountiful, was in coming to know herself better, was in coming to know her place in the world better, was in coming to know when we are at home with the love in our hearts, we are always at home in the world wherever we go. Our homecoming is not to the homestead and the building and the filter, and our homestead of coming to the center is not the building. It's the people who have been in this building. It's the people who have been here, who are yet to come and are here now. That's the homecoming of the holidays. It's about the people. It's not about the buildings. It's not about the money. It's not about the stock dividends or the stock options or the car you drive. But along the way to the trip to Bountiful, and if we have the next slide, Chippy. Along the way on the trip to Bountiful, and I hope it's been a somewhat bountiful journey for you today, we learn to be grateful. We learn to be grateful. We learn to be grateful for the kindly friends that walk along your way. We become grateful for the skies of blue that smile from day to day. We become grateful for the health that we own, the work that we do. For round about you there are those less fortunate than you. Be grateful for the growing trees, the roses soon to bloom, the tenderness of kindly hearts that shared your days of gloom. Be grateful for the morning dew, the grass beneath your feet, the soft caress of your babes, and all their laughter sweet. Acquire that grateful habit and learn to see how blessed you are, how much there is to gladden life, how little in life that mars. And what if rain shall fall today and you with grief are sad? Be grateful that you can recall the joys, all the joys you've had. And next slide, Chippy. I hope you enjoyed our short trip to Bountiful today. And so ends our trip to Bountiful today. And so ends our talk today. But if no one has told you they love you today, and your CSLB family, we love you beyond measure. We love you beyond measure. And if you were at our board meetings run 3.5 hours long, and if you're in Marcia's office who stays hours beyond what she's scheduled, and tech team, and Kitchen Angels team, and people who help in the kitchen, people who are coming to help on Thanksgiving. The givingness from the openness of their heart is beyond measure. And so if you haven't told yourself today that you love you, then tell yourself right now, I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. Be well. Stay conscious. Namaste. So ends our talk. And so let's take this into prayer. Let's just know that our trip to Bountiful is about the journey. It's always about the journey. And it's never about the departure or the destination. It's about the journey that happens before the departure and even after the destination and what happens between those 2 points. It's always about the journey of the life experiences we invite in to filter through our heart, to allow to permeate into our soul, to become the change agent. It changes our soul and clears away that cellophane and allows that light of love to come brightly through and lightly through and enter into that open portal of our heart that we take the cellophane and of our beliefs and values and attitudes that bind us that we don't even know are there. We don't even know we're there. We don't know how fully we are not experiencing the love and the light and the joy of coming home to the homecoming of that light of love in your heart. And so knowing that in some way today we came home to a homecoming, a very warm homecoming of coming to love ourselves the way we are, coming to love the holidays old, the holidays new, and the holidays yet to be, and come to celebrate the beauty and the bounty and the blessing of the celebration of life that was expressed here today, that was experienced here today, that was made present here today. And know with me, as I know with Spirit, that the trip to Bountiful we traveled today is just one trip in an infinite itinerary of journeys behind, ahead, and right here present. And so, happy trails to you, wherever you go. And together I invite us to say, and so it is.
Center for Spiritual Living Choir. We've been waiting for this night for a long time. Our next number, it begins with some chanting in Sanskrit. And then they would begin with some naming different names of God. Jehovah, Allah. And then you'll have a song that you will all know very well. It seems that in New Thought, we do honor all faiths, except usually the one we grew up with. But anyway, that's another story, and there's a class for that. So this is a wonderful arrangement by Mr. Eric Odell.
I chose Amazing Grace for our after talk song today, and it didn't pass royalty check. So Adrian substituted that today. So I want to thank Adrian for finding that clip and substituting that for us today. And how lucky am I, right? How lucky am I? And if our ushers will come forward, I'll move the giving statement in just a second, but the ushers will come forward. How lucky am I? I got to do a music program with Michael Gott at Asilomar, and I got to do a music study program with Michael Gott through CSLB Ministerial Studies. And all I can say is Michael Gott sees and bees and becomes the light of the love in his heart that he is, and his trip to Bountiful is through the vehicle of his music as his message. What's your bounty? Yes? She got to do the same thing in a musical group. Pretty amazing to be part of it and amazing to witness it. So, what's your trip to Bountiful? What's the cellophane that you don't see that's holding you back from that level of energy? I mean, I sang in the shower this morning, but I didn't sing like that. Why not? Why not? Why not? So, if the ushers will come forward, we'll read the giving statement as they begin the collection. I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and open mind. The universe responds to me in kind. I know that my beloved community is richly blessed, and so it is. And so as we begin the collection here, I invite those of you online, you can text to give. It's 951-420-6909. You can go to cslbeaumont.org and you can give on our giving page. You can also direct on our giving page if you want to give it to the Music Fund, if you want to give it to the Rainbow Alliance Fund, if you want to give it to whatever fund. We have many categories, and you click on the category you want your donation to go to. So you direct your donation where you choose for it to go in this center. Always at the power of choice, right, with our tithe. Always at the power of choice.
Thank you, God, for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, God, for everything.
Welcome.
Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything.
Flowers. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
So now it's time, if it's your first time here, and I know we have some people for the first time, we stand up and we circle up. If you feel comfortable and hold hands, we circle the sanctuary and we sing our way out. So if you're comfortable, if you're not, you can remain seated and just join us in consciousness. Let's close that circle. Gaps, circle closed. We sing our way out.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.
And so know with me that something wonderful happened at CSL Beaumont today, and that something wonderful was called a trip to bounty. May your holiday journeys, may your holiday trips be filled with the bounty of love in your heart. And know wherever you are, when you live from that bounty of love in your heart, you're always at home wherever you go. And together we say, and so it is. Practitioners here if you want to do some prayer work with them. If not, we have full lunch in Carter Hall in the back, so join us for lunch and prayer. And we have a sign-up list if you'd like to join us for Thanksgiving Day, so let us know so we can judge the food accordingly.
Grateful for your tenderness. Life can feel unkind. I'm grateful for the way you see when I'm stuck inside my mind.